Hello. Hello, Dr. Venus.
Hello, Dr. Jackson, and everybody.
Yeah, it's so good to see you. And um, we are on episode 16, I think. I think this is
Wow,
16.
we're getting there.
We are. And so this is the Three Docs Book Club podcast. And this week we're talking about Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. And what a wonderful emotional book that an experience, just a kind of a wonderful reading experience. I mean, not happy wonderful, but just
But a must read, a must
yes,
read, and
yes,
I'm just in awe that I never saw this before. This
yeah,
this book, it has been out for so long, and
hmm,
I don't understand how I ever missed it. So
yeah,
I just and thank you, Daniel Pink, for for including this book in your list. It's a book that everybody needs to read, should
right.
read.
And it's related to everything else on the list. I mean, there's some
Yes,
part of every kind of book.
absolutely.
I found lots of connections.
Yeah, a book about how to survive adversity, how to or trying to move on in the face of tremendous hardship. So
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
absolutely, just fantastic and
yes.
sad, of course.
Right, right. Yes. Heartbreaking. I
Yeah.
agree. All right. So let's review. We started this using this podcast using Daniel Pink's suggested books, 21 books that changed his life. And so we are marching through, and episode 16, here we are. Um, so, Man's Search for Meaning. And Dr. Venus, would you like to discuss what Daniel Pink said about the book?
Absolutely. So Daniel Pink states that Viktor Frankl um, says that any human's primary drive in life is not pleasure, as Freud had said, or power, like Alfred Adler said. He says instead it is meaning. Even in brutal, dehumanizing conditions, we can find purpose and
Mm,
significance. We can use our craving for meaning to build resilience, whether you are struggling or not. Daniel Pink says, read this book. It is that powerful.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I
absolutely.
wholeheartedly agree.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So what I picked out as a discussion point is the fact that Frankl argues that even when facing unavoidable suffering, a person retains the freedom to choose their attitude toward that suffering. This is the last of the human freedoms, which no external force can take away. And I think that is just a powerful statement because it is so true. The attitude with which you approach adversity, things that happen to you, can make all the difference how you get through it. So
Right.
he says we have a choice of response. The difference between those who survived the camps, the concentration camps, and those who perished often came to down to an inner decision, the choice to preserve one's spiritual freedom and human dignity despite unimaginable brutality.
Mm,
Meaning in suffering. If life has a meaning at all, there must be a meaning in suffering. If life has a meaning at all, then, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves, to find meaning in the way we accept endure our fate. And of course, he talks a lot about what they went through, getting the clothes from sick patients or other prisoners in Auschwitz that were sent to the gas chamber because they were deemed not usable for work. They were too weak to work, so their fate was immediately sealed upon arrival. Off they went. So the prisoners got their clothes,
Yeah.
whether they fit or not. Then they had to march in sub-zero temperatures to their work site and then work all day and survive that. And it's something we cannot imagine.
Right. Right.
And those things it reminded me of we don't always understand how it was in Germany that prisoners were treated that brutally. In other parts of the world that I know of, where prisoners they have nothing. It's not like here, where you go to jail, and I'm not saying it's a cakewalk, but your conditions here in jail or in a prisoner camp are tolerable versus what you go through.
Frankl also compared prison and camps in that respect as well. That
yes,
and I hesitate to say safe place, but I mean the whole idea that you're in the camp and that at any moment your life would be ended, that you
yes,
would be called out and your
yes.
life would be ended. But prisoners in a jail, for the most part, have a trial and are put in prison for their
in our Western
punishment.
countries,
Right.
that is
Western. There you go.
in our Western countries and democracies. I can tell you that my dad very rarely spoke about World War II because it just wasn't anything to remember.
Right.
But he told us that as the war went to an end and they knew it was over, and everyone scrambled to the Western Front because they'd rather be taken prisoner by the Americans than by the Russians. And they knew why, because the conditions you can probably compare to Auschwitz and the way it was in the Third Reich.
Yeah, the other camps. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Something that it's not to the fore of our understanding.
Yes.
And as people get older, less and less of the stories of survivors are shared. So,
by virtue of attrition, we don't remember. There's been in other centuries prison camps, and we don't remember anymore. We don't talk about it anymore. We don't know anymore. So. Okay, second discussion point. There is sufficient proof that everything can be taken away from us but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. So I had to say that again because that to me is just so powerful. It's something to really keep in the back of your mind, that whenever you face something that you think you can't get over with, check your attitude, find your attitude that allows you to get through it.
Absolutely. That's right. That's the only thing we have control over, actually.
Right.
Yeah. Some of the things that I just when I first started reading the book, the beauty of the descriptions of the horrific And I know that sounds terrible, but just looking at the book from a literary perspective,
Yeah, yeah.
on page 9, this is one sentence that just jumped out at me. The engine's whistle had an uncanny sound, like a
Mhm.
cry for help sent out in commiseration for the unhappy load which it was destined to lead to into perdition.
Yes.
Just I thought it was almost poetic. And
Yeah, yeah,
the author talks about other situations and circumstances which were poetic in just in the description where a bird lands on a pile of
yeah.
dirt that had just been unearthed, and the bird just looks, and the little things had meaning for him, and that
Yes,
was I thought was just beautiful.
yes.
And then
So too.
also in that same page, when he talked about first entering the camp, that when they had to remove their clothes, they had to give everything, all their belongings to in one pile, and then they went to another to be cleaned or whatever. But no one could yet grasp the fact that everything would be taken away. They
Yeah,
thought, oh well,
yeah,
I'm going to go back and I'm going to get my belongings, even though meager as they
yeah.
were. It might have been just a
Exactly.
little slip of paper. It was
Yeah,
still belonged. It was a
yeah.
belonging, and it was not.
No.
There was nothing, not every single physical something would be taken away from them.
Yeah,
And most people don't know. I mean, we don't experience that.
yeah, yeah.
The closest thing that ever happened to me personally was, uh, uh, as you know, I have twins, and I had to be on bed rest for 8 weeks. And I all I could do was lay in the bed and eat and sleep and read, and that was it. But for 8 weeks, I felt like a prisoner in my own home, because the idea that if I got up and moved around and did some house cleaning or something, I would kill my twins, or they would be born so early that they wouldn't survive and would all be on me. I felt I lived under that fear for so long and
Yeah. 8 weeks
went
is
into,
a long time.
yeah, quite a depression. And I was, uh, I would, my husband took really good care of me. I want to make sure I say that,
Yeah,
but I still felt a paranoia and a
yeah,
fear
yeah,
that I couldn't do anything besides those three things,
yeah.
and that I
And
didn't have.
again,
Yeah,
you didn't know the outcome in spite
right.
of it.
Right. So yeah, if it perhaps it would last 8 weeks, perhaps it would last 6 weeks, and
Yeah,
or longer, or whenever the babies were healthy enough to be born. But like you said, yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know when that would happen.
yeah,
So thankfully, everything was ended well. But that was probably the worst experience of my life.
yeah,
Actually,
yeah,
yeah, you just don't know. And I think the author brings that out really well. That the not knowing was the hardest part, knowing
yeah,
when it was going to end or how.
yeah,
Um, so he also talks about the phases that the prisoners at Auschwitz went through. The first phase of shock, um, they did not fear death. It was just it was going to be a good thing. It was to get them out.
yeah,
And then the second phase, they experienced a relative apathy and emotional death, necessary mechanism for self-defense to preserve life at all costs for some. And for some, an inner retreat. So they would be almost zombie-like to try to just one moment at a time, to get by one moment at a time.
yeah,
And they tried not to feel anything, um, in order to survive and defend themselves. And then depersonalization, the feeling like nothing was real. And I imagine there's a kind of a looking out from the outside to the things that are happening around, that it wasn't happening to me, it was happening to someone else. And that
yeah,
was one
yeah,
way that the people were able to survive. And then different stages of readjustment, the numbness, and then emotional breakthrough, and then bitterness and disillusionment, all these things that that they had to experience, and that even through all this suffering, it did not always guarantee a happy ending.
Yeah.
So the experience of realizing, when he realized that his wife was actually not alive, because in his mental experience with her, he was talking to her, and she
Mhm.
helped him. The memories of her helped him get
Yeah.
through all this terrible
Yeah.
experience. And so when they a lot of the disillusionment came when they realized at the end uh, that they were going through all this and it was just in their head, that
Yeah.
there would
Yeah.
not be a reunion at the end of it all.
Yeah, and
And
he also what also was interesting to me. He compared, to those who made it. He wanted to know who are the people who, like him, can survive such tragedy, and the one versus the ones that just given up. That
yeah,
just
yeah, right.
um, and they always knew, which is really hard because he was trying to go around and tell people and save them from giving up, and it didn't always
Yeah,
work. People would
yeah,
just all of a sudden not get up, um, make no effort to join him for the work detail, and just lay there and be gone within within overnight or within a couple of hours. They're just given up on life.
yeah,
So that
yeah,
was very, very, very interesting, that to make that observation, that some people just can't get there, or the majority probably just couldn't get there because it was too the suffering was too much.
right, right. And there might have been some kind of a last straw or something that they could not deal with.
Yeah, like one, he had, for some reason, his religion or his faith. That was interesting to me, because in his faith, he felt that at the end of May, the war would be over and they would be released. And then when end of May came, it wasn't really true, or March. So it dragged on for another month or so, and that's when he
Yeah,
died, when he just said, that's it.
yeah, yeah. He had enough energy and hope to last for just a little bit longer,
Yeah,
and that was
a
that
little
was
bit
it. It
longer,
was,
yeah.
yeah, amazing. Yeah. So, of the books we've discussed so far, found some connections, and feel free to jump in here. Grit and Mindset and The War of Art, that success is driven by effort, persistence, and the belief in one's ability to improve. So, the attitude and the idea of hope is just so strong in people that it helps them, no matter that will survive, that it helps them just take another breath, you know?
Yeah, in contrary, really, to popular belief, that it's a combination, like in many of the books was promoted, a combination of ability or talent, the environment, and what you're made of, but it's up here,
Yeah,
what your
absolutely.
what your what you do with your brain, that can make all the difference.
Absolutely. And then also I found a connection with Give and Take,
Like, absolutely.
Adam
Yeah.
Grant text, Reciprocity and Generosity, which is kind of how they dealt with even the little kindnesses
Mhm.
that, just speaking to each other, and things like that, were showed people as givers, takers, and matchers. And a
Mhm.
lot a lot
Yeah,
was they dealt with matchers. I do this
mate.
for you, and then
Yeah,
maybe later on,
bread.
you can do something for me.
Yeah, and what I also liked, as he was pointing out, that some of their own fellow prisoners became brutal brutal enforcers of outrageous punishment for no reason at all, just giving the power and abusing that
Yeah.
power. In contrast to some of the guards that that gave them a break and did not
Right.
want to participate in the dishing out punishment, and
Yeah.
and it came through to them that they were really not buying into all of that. So, but didn't have much of a choice. So that
Yeah.
that's interesting to me too. So they're not all bad and they're not all good just because you were a prisoner. And he points that out too, that that there were prisoners that were just taking full advantage of the the Darwinian, the survival of the fittest, and I don't care as long as I survive.
Right. Right. Yeah, that was interesting how many of the people that were put in charge, I guess maybe because there weren't as many soldiers as they needed, many were put in charge were prisoners as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Yeah. And I didn't know that. I thought that it
yeah.
was
I didn't know that either. So, and then to show that kind of brutality is just unreal.
right. Right. And so out of all these experiences, the logotherapy was developed, and Frankl, survived and lived and helped people understand their own attitudes and how that can affect their daily lives outside of this concentration camp environment. And I thought it was really very interesting how um, it really folded so nicely into the books that we've already been reading.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, I mean, it's interesting to me because I never heard of logotherapy before either, before I read this
Hmm.
book. So
Yeah.
it's a school of psychotherapy that is centered on the belief that the search for meaning is in the main motivation of living.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, so
So so
yeah, that was interesting to me because I didn't even know. I mean, it has many facets, of course.
sure.
It's a psychotherapy that is concerned with the future, not with the past.
Right. Right. Yeah, that was good. I thought it that was really powerful to me because so much of what we hear is people um being still so connected to things that happened to them as a child, and but now
Yeah, dwell,
they are adults, so
yeah, and
how
dwell
does
in that which you cannot change anymore. It's over
right.
with, done. Yeah,
Yeah, so how can you continue on? How can you improve your life now
yeah.
when you've got those things to deal with?
Yeah, because you have a future ahead of you, and that's the only thing you can change. And some of the other books have said that. In Mindset,
Yeah,
it said that. What are you going to do from here on to make things better? You can't change the past, so we got to move on.
right.
And I
Absolutely.
think for our readers, what I also like um, to bring out, so they know the meaning of life is unique. The meaning of life is not general, but unique and specific to each person, and often to each moment. We should not ask what we expect from life, but rather what life expects from us. So I thought
Mm,
was just a
that's
life
beautiful.
changing thought. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
And it's more of other-centered
Yes.
perspective rather than a self-focused perspective, so that we, when we come up across obstacles, that we center, like you said, what does life expect from us?
Yes.
Not what can I expect life to give me.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's see. This was another quote. I didn't have room on my slide, but then this is the truth that love is the ultimate and the highest goal to which man can aspire. And then I grasped the meaning of the greatest secret that human poetry and human thought and belief have to impart. The salvation of man is through love and in love. And I think that's it doesn't just speak about romantic love, but about love of others, of
Exactly.
humans.
Yeah.
And that's just beautiful.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I love that.
I agree.
Yeah. So from the beginning of this book, it's horrific. I mean, it's just terrible, clear descriptions of sad things that people had to go through. But there is a focus that ends up at the end of the book, which is focusing on others and not necessarily our own experiences.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love that.
It's just one powerful book, and there's so much more in it. You can
Mhm.
bring that out all in. I mean, I got pages and pages and underlined and underlined.
Yeah,
There's just so much to gain from reading this book.
yeah.
I can only recommend it to.
And yeah, and there's no wasted words. It's essentially a short book, 150,
It is, yeah. It's
60
you know,
pages, maybe.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
a you don't get mired in 500
Mm-mm.
pages. It's short and to the
Yeah.
point, and it's just awesome to read.
Yes, and the references are good. Very interesting references if you want to do
Yes, yes.
deep study and psychological understanding and different therapies. I thought that
Mhm.
was really pretty interesting too.
Yeah, yeah.
So yes, absolutely. Dr. Venus, I have really enjoyed speaking with you, and I hope that our listeners, if they decide to subscribe, that they would like this podcast, and we will continue on with episode 17 next week. And next on our list,
Have we decided?
we haven't decided yet. Um, how about economics and psychology?
Okay.
Scarcity. Let's try scarcity.
Scarcity. Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
Yes.
And that we will discuss and move on to next week. And thank you again, everyone who's watched. And yeah, okay, that's great. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye bye.